Well, hi there, guys. I had to come on here and give you guys a review as promised of Ready to Love. Basically, we're to the point where we're at the meat and potatoes, as I say. They actually threw two different twists in there. Basically, Ace was to the point she was able to go on a blind date. She was able to go on a blind date with a new guy who is Cornelius. Cornelius is to the point where he's very taken by Ace. He basically gives her nothing but compliments. I'm sorry, on their actual date. He's very intrigued by the fact that she actually is a yoga instructor. He also likes the fact that she actually is multifaceted, as he says. She's basically a woman that has more than what he thought that she would have. In other words, he likes not on her outer beauty, but he likes her inner beauty. They basically had a very great actual blind date. They very meshed very well. At first, Ace was to the point she was very quiet, but looks like Cornelius is able to bring that side out of her. I also saw her to the point where she looked like she was more girly and she was blushing. He also decided that he wanted to have a second date with her, so they actually exchanged numbers. The actual next new person that they actually had on was a new lady by the name of Amber. She was to the point where she was prior military, but now she actually is to the point where she decides she's ready to love. She says that she was she was married, but she is divorced now. She goes on an actual blind date with actually Paul, and she was to the point where she actually was, enjoying herself. They've actually flowed very well. He asked all the right questions. She was to the point she was able to be herself and let him know that she actually enjoyed his company. And it was very intriguing for me to actually watch them on camera. I'm sorry, you guys, it was not Cornelius, it was Laverne. I'm sorry. Laverne. Her and Laverne they meshed very well together. Laverne was not to the point where he was trying to be like he normally is, and as I say, the player type. He was more so being genuine with her, and I like that. Clifford and Joy and a new lady, and also Ace were actually out on a date along with William. They went out on an actual date. They went golfing. It's very funny the fact that actually the new lady had to actually come in and show Clifford how to actually putt. He was basically asking her, do you know how to actually golf? And she was like, yes, of course I do. I have several different outfits that I use. So basically, she gets the putt and she shows him how to actually swing, and she actually makes it in the hole, and she asks him to hold her hair. And she said the reason why she asked him to hold her hair was to let him know that her hair is real, unbeknownst to some of the other winners. I basically thought that was shade, but I was like, hey, it is what it is. But Clifford also made something that was really, I don't know if it's funny or whatever, but he basically made reference to her eyes. He basically said she looked like Jesus with the contacts in her eyes. And I was like, okay, that was a jab. I think it's one of those things where Clifford wanted to explore his options, but I think he still keeps going back to what he knows is comfortable, and that's Joy. Joy was to the point she made a reference to Willie, and she actually told him that she wore that she there was a reason why she wore the jumpsuit she had, and he's basically standing behind her and basically licking his lips. And I said to myself, it was very cute to the fact that he was actually showing his another side. He was basically interjecting with Joy, because at first it was just Joy and Cliff. They were actually joined at the hip, as I say. But you can kind of tell they still have a connection, even though they are to the point where they're agreeing to see other people. Now, Ace is to the point where she basically mingles out and she goes to the bar to get a drink. I think that's basically her tactic. When she goes over there, Clifford goes to check on her. He asked her that he came to make sure she was okay. She was like, yes, I'm okay, but I actually saw that you guys were actually having a connection, so I decided to come over here and be amongst myself. I didn't want to interject or anything like that. He was like, no, you're not interjecting or anything like that. We actually to the point we want you to mingle with everybody. Paul is to the point where he basically is asking Tiffany a lot of questions. When they actually went on their actual date and sat down and had a one-on-one, she was like, well, it's just 21 questions. I'm not to the point where I want to be asked all these questions. Basically, Paul is to the point he feels offended. He says that he thinks that Tiffany is basically hiding something, and he's not here for it. I think it's one of those things where Tiffany basically does not like the aura that Paul is giving off, so she's basically giving him one word answers, and she's trying to basically deflect. I think Paul basically uses that against her. Now, my thing is Tori is to the point where he's basically letting the new lady know that he is interested in her. And like I told you, the new lady is Marilyn, the lady who is Air Force. He basically lets her know that he basically what he was saying is that he didn't have a problem being with a cougar. I thought it was really, really cute of him to say that. Not to the point where I think they would actually have a connection, but it was the point that he was basically trying to open up and let her know that he would allow her to be in his world, if that makes sense. Also, we're to the point where we're seeing everybody mingle and they're going on separate dates together. I think it was very, very cute that they actually were doing that because, like I told you, Paul and Tiffany actually were there with Sabrina and the new lady. They actually were to the no, to the point where they actually were doing ping pong, and to their surprise, they realized that actually Cornelius, not Cornelius, Paul said he used to play it in college. And he goes and does the little thing where they actually him and the new guy actually linked up and they are going against the other three girls. He basically does a swing and the new guy lets him know that no, you don't have to do the ladies like that. So they basically take a 5 minute break and like I said, they branched off and that's when he started asking Tiffany all those questions. Tiffany to the point she did not want to be asked a lot of questions. Now Sabrina was to the point where they said Sabrina took a break and went to the bar and never came back. The guys brought that up in the actual confessionals before the actual eliminations. They basically said they really didn't get a chance to see a whole lot of Sabrina. I have to basically agree with them on that because Sabrina has basically been trying to be safe, if that makes sense. She hadn't went on a lot of one-on-ones and teamed up with a lot of people. Like I told you guys, Ace and the new guy actually made a connection. I think it's still one of those things where Joy and Cliff are actually going to still be a connection. I think Tori and Pauline are actually going to have a connection, and I think the reason why the main thing they bonded over was on the last episode where they basically had trauma issues, and it's one of things where people call trauma bonding. He was basically abandoned by his mom, she was abandoned by her mom, and they were able to basically connect on that level and share stories. Now, I think it's one of those things where she basically Pauline is actually connected to Laverne in a way, and I think it's more of a lust type of thing because I basically made reference to the fact that she actually did her research on him and that he actually is a bodybuilder. So she was like, I'm trying to get my body right and I need somebody to rub oil on me. He was like, well, are you going to allow me to do that? She was like, yes, of course I will. Now, it's to the point where I think Ace is to the point where she's fading out when it comes to the guys that have already been there. But as far as the new guy that actually is coming in, they're actually perfect for each other. Like I told you, when they went on the actual blind date, they connected. So I think that's pretty much what's gonna keep her in the actual competition. Basically, we are to the point where the ladies are going to be one of them will be eliminated. I personally don't think it's one of those things where none of the ladies did anything wrong. I think it's one of the things where the guys have their actual picks or whoever they actually have a connection with. Because Tommy always goes around the table and asks who did they connect with. Now the answer to Tori's question is that as usual, he said he connected with Pauline, Cornelius, and it was to the point where he actually is saying that he connected with the new lady. Now, the new lady is to the point where she never said once that she wanted to date him or anything like that. I think they just basically were being cordial. So I think it was one of those things where Paul got really mad with Tiffany because she became, in other words, she came at him sideways. So I think he used that against her when it was time to let Tommy know who they wanted to eliminate. So basically, what he said was is that he wanted Tiffany to go. Tori's vote was for Sabrina. Clifford's vote was also for Sabrina. But they were to the point where they had a tie, where they had more people that voted for actually Tiffany to go, and Ace was also put in the bottom too. So when they actually had the last elimination, it was one of those things where they were playing on words. I thought at first they were gonna get rid of Ace because she basically went into the background a lot. Ever since she came off of her blind date, she hadn't really connected with the new guys, which was odd because she was connecting a lot on the second episode. But this episode, she was to the point she was more nonchalant. I think she realized that a lot of other people were making connections and she really didn't know how to fit in. So, with that being said, the ladies are to the point they are making themselves known. Just like I told you, they did split up into the little dates. I actually enjoyed the scenery where they actually went to the actual putt and actually played golf because everybody there was genuinely vibing, and I like the fact that Joy wanted to step away from Clifford for a minute and kind of, interject with Tori because I never thought that her and Tori would even get to the point they would actually be in a actual conversation, let alone to the point they were vibing and they were basically flirting. Now, when we get to the point where we actually see Clifford, he basically embraces Joy. He hugs her really, 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 really tight, and he lets her know that once everybody leaves that he wants to spend a little more time with her. And basically Joy says she enjoys the fact that he actually knows what he wants and he basically lets her know. So in her mind she feels wanted. So she was like, if a man's to the point he tells you that he wants to spend more time with you, that's a good thing. I have to basically agree with her on that because you can tell that Clifford basically is infatuated with Joy. But like I said, when they actually split up on the date, he didn't basically just stay up on the Joy. He allowed her to do her thing, and she allowed him to do his thing. Like he said, Joy is not jealous hearted, and he likes that about her. She's very confident within herself. Now, Tori made a reference and asked her asked Joy if something at the football table. He was like, "Are you a fan of sex before marriage?" And she was like, "Yes, I am. I have to get what I want to get." And he was like, basically he made a reference to basically having, I guess it was some type of rough sex or anything like that. And he was like, how do you feel with somebody getting inside the kidney? She was like, no, I need my kidneys. I thought that was really, really hilarious. Basically what he was saying was he was going to, if you're a man, you understand. He basically was making reference to, you making love true enough, but you're going real deep. So it was one of those things where they made that connection. They said what they said, they flirted. But I think when in actuality, he probably knows his position because he knows that she has a connection with Cliff. Now Cliff is to the point where he lets everybody know that the new lady is, she's cute or whatever, but he's not to the point where he's gonna be attracted to her on that level. He has nothing but eyes for Joy, and I think that's really, really cute. I'm really ready to see for the rest of the episodes, see what actually happens, and see what where everything goes. I'm going to see what in the next elimination whether or not Paul leaves. I mean, because one of the things where Paul basically skated by in the first episode, so he's here now and he's basically trying to call the shots when it comes to the elimination table. I think he used the fact that Tiffany didn't really like him per se. He used it against her. That's just my opinion. But when they were to the point they actually had to come and actually have the last as I call the last hurrah, he basically was paired up with Tiffany. Ace was paired up with actually Cornelius. Cornelius is to the point where he actually lets Ace know that he wants to see more of her and he would want her to stay. Now, Tiffany was told that she was not ready to love by Paul, and it looked like it irked her nerves. For number one, the fact he told her, and number two, she basically said out her own mouth she felt like he was hating on her because she didn't want to, in other words, wasn't giving him a time of day. He asked her for a hug when it was time to leave. She was like, no. And she made reference to the fact she said she needed her Uber. So she walked out very fast. I think it's one of the things where she got comfortable. She didn't really think that she really could get eliminated. But she got to understand they got new blood in there. They got two new people. They got one guy, one woman. Now both of them are nice. The other guy, his credentials are he's in real estate. And he just like he made a reference to the fact that he said a lot of people say because he made $1 million, that's a lot of money. He said no, there's no need to get comfortable. So when he said that I felt that, basically what he's saying is you can't get comfortable in this competition either. So I'm waiting to see how these guys and everything mesh well together. I think the next episode is going to be giving. Now this particular episode was cool. I like the fact that they threw the two people in there, and like I said, we didn't even see that coming that they was gonna put them on a blind bait, which I think was cute. Last season they just brought in two new people. This time they put them on a blind date, and I thought that was cute. But Ace, you could tell she was infatuated with that new guy. They actually clicked. I want to see them go on another date together. And it is what it is, you guys. I basically could not wait to bring you guys a review on this. Like I told you, I really love this actual season of Ready to Love. I'm to the point where I enjoy watching it. I enjoy bringing the reviews just as much, and I hope you guys are enjoying the fact that I am bringing you reviews. I will continue to bring you reviews on Ready to Love. More likely, I will do it every time I actually get a chance to watch it, which probably be on Fridays. I appreciate you guys for actually rocking with the channel. Those who are new here, please subscribe if you haven't. Most importantly, those who are old here, I appreciate the love. Leave me a comment and leave me a like. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks, guys.